Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is your favorite software claim master here, aka TimTheTable, and I have run into my first major problem with the Archon staff on Cyanx this season. This seems to happen on a lot of Minecraft servers, but for the sake of clarity, I thought I would go over the specific rules as they relate to what happened. So here's the specific server rule when it comes to chat. We expect a safe, fun, caring community. We do not tolerate harassment/disrespectful comments against player, staff, admin, owner's server. Depending on the comment made, you will be punished as foreseen by an admin plus or to the staff guidelines. Any disrespectful/unmannerly comments toward admins, owners may result in a permanent ban and may not be appealable. So we ask players to keep these types of comments to themselves. If you're having troubles with another player, you may PM staff members available, or if you're having issues with a staff member, feel free to use our staff abuse report thread, PM Snixers, or iZero Logic. If you wish to keep the report anonymous, we do ask for you to provide evidence for anything to be done. Keep that in mind while I go over what happened. It was about 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was grinding and I see Mr. Yangwolf type in chat, "Please STFU irrelevant temper members." I said, "That's BS, Mr. Yangwolf. I stuck up for you today on stream and everything. If you check my stream archives, we were talking about bullying and I brought up how people talk about Mr. Yangwolf being gay so much that it's pretty much cyberbullying at this point." Anyway, he responded, "Timalik, you're trash." I said, "Mr. Yangwolf, I know you're gay, but are you trans too? You could be Mr. Yang Wolf in girls' clothing." I was kicked by TimTheTable for an offensive comment. I don't really know how that's offensive unless you're transphobic, so I logged back in. TimTheTable said, "Timma, go stream or something." I said, "TimTheTable, go kick people for no reason or something." Mr. Yangwolf said something cruddy, and I said, "Mr. Yangwolf, don't you have a bunch of men at a truck stop to please?" Kicked for another offensive comment. Came back on to Mr. Yangwolf spamming chat with, "Tim, your dad is at the truck stop now?" ? I said, "Easy to talk trash with a trash helper protecting you." There was a lot more to it than just that, but I think I've highlighted the overall theme of the conversation here. I just want to make clear that at no point did I swear or say anything over the top when it comes to disrespect or harassment. In fact, before I was banned, TimTheTable typed, "Timalik, what are you doing?" I responded, trying to keep my mouth shut. He said, "Think you can do that for a whole day?" Mr. Yangwolf said, "Timalik Twitch, bye." There's a couple of things here that should worry you guys about how the rules of the Archon are being enforced by helpers and moderators. One, the fact that it's already more bannable to disrespect a moderator or any member of staff than any other player is horrifying. This is a server owned and moderated by people who tell you constantly that you're their number one concern, but through their actions, they show that they're more concerned with how the people who volunteer to be put in positions where they will be criticized feel. If anything, it should be less of a severe punishment to show your aggravation with how moderators and admins represent themselves in-game than it should be to disrespect a normal member. We're the people who buy ranks, crate keys, and tags. If not for us, they'd be nothing. And they clearly don't care how you feel, only how they feel. It's self-interest preserving self-interest. 2. Anything can be seen as disrespectful, and not everybody is deserving of your respect. The rule states that they do not tolerate harassment or disrespectful comments towards players, and that's a direct quote. Is it not disrespectful to be among the spammers in chat who put L after a member gets death banned, or to say hip hip or rip rip? It might not seem outwardly so, but I bet the person on the receiving end of that feels disrespected, and that's the problem. This isn't a rule that can be followed because the very definition of the rule relies on how a person feels, and that can't be predicted or controlled. What I'm trying to show you is that just by being an active chatter, you're going to break the rules that the Archon has put in place, and then the staff members simply decide when to enforce it and when not to. That might seem like a bit of a complicated idea, so here's an example. If I was a dictator of a country, I might outlaw breathing air. Now, of course, I know that people are going to breathe air, but anytime somebody does, I have the option of enforcing the law and putting that person in prison. Essentially, I get to detain somebody just because I don't like them and decide not to detain the people that I do like. It's an abuse of power. Now that you understand why the rules themselves are flawed, let's look specifically at why TimTheTable's reaction to this problem was not only unprofessional and immature, but should be grounds for his removal of his status as a helper. In order for this evidence to be understood, it's important that you know that TimTheTable and Mr. Yangwolf during this specific conflict were in communication with each other outside of public chat. The evidence of Mr. Yangwolf knowing about my imminent 24-hour ban should be good enough to show you guys that they were probably in TS or Skype at the time, if not at least messaging each other. So here's the reasons that not only prove my ban was unfair, but that TimTheTable should be removed as a helper. 1. Disrespect. We've been over this, but the Archon rules say that they do not, in all caps, tolerate harassment or disrespectful comments against any players. I feel disrespected, and my feeling is valid. Not only did TimTheTable humiliate me in public chat in front of my peers, but clearly he was discussing the terms of my ban with a non-staff affiliated member. On top of that, my comments were made to an openly gay player who was not asking me to stop or holding back from making his own comments. In fact, he was encouraging me to continue. A person who feels disrespected or harassed does not continue the conversation with the person who's disrespecting or harassing them, and that's why I stopped chatting. Keep in mind that while I was trying to keep my mouth shut and get my grinding done, Mr. Yangwolf continued to call me out in public chat along with TimTheTable. These two are definitely guilty of violating the rule against harassment and disrespect, and now the Archon gets to decide whether they should enforce that rule or not. 2. There are 5 things listed in the official Archon rules that staff members are expressly prohibited from doing: swearing in any chat, using their tags as a trust leverage to scam players, kicking or temp banning for fun, leaking private information, and misusing their special permissions. By this encounter alone, TimTheTable violated 3 of those 5 rules. He kicked me for fun, then temp banned me for fun. That's 1. He leaked the private details of my ban, my personal information, to Mr. Yangwolf. That's 2. And number 3, he misused his special permissions to accomplish those things. All of this is very clear. Now it's up for the Archon to decide if they should enforce their own rules or not. 3. There's a common sense factor here. When you have employees or volunteers in any business, it's important that those people represent your business or organization the way you'd represent it yourself. TimTheTable, as shown by this exchange, was clearly stirring the pot and adding to server drama that encouraged players to be disrespectful and harass each other. We all know that Factions is competitive and that at certain times it can be tempting to ream a newbie out for something he did in game, but all of the people we should expect to be doing these things are not the people who are being put in positions of power. That alone should be grounds for his immediate termination, not even to mention the other 2 points. Here's the bottom line, guys. Mr. Yangwolf is one of the most hated members of the Cyan X community. He frustrates us all to a certain extent, but we give him too much crap. We need to be more clever than to resort to the gay thing every time he upsets one of us. At this point, it's just wrong, and like I said in my stream, it is just cyberbullying. There is so much more about him to not like, and we don't need to be doing that anymore, okay? So yeah, my comments were disrespectful, but so is literally any other comment, because it relies on how a person feels. Was Mr. Yangwolf out of line as well? Absolutely. Was TimTheTable instigating drama? That much is a clear and definite yes. So I have hundreds of hours of recorded game time on the Archon, and nearly all of it has been documented either on stream or on YouTube. You guys know by now that I don't start fights, I don't instigate drama, and I'm certainly not a mean guy. I don't expect my reputation to be grounds for an unban, and quite frankly, I'm fine with waiting the 24 hours until I return, but the way TimTheTable reacted to the situation is appalling, and it needs to be addressed. Use your power as community members to demand fair treatment. Do not let this type of abuse continue. And as always, I will see you all next time. See you guys.